if you could give one piece of advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Okay, so this is interesting that you asked this, because in one of my presentations, I have people step back in the audience and go back 10, 15 years ago. And what would you say to yourself now, and what worked and didn't? So I would say my biggest thing would be that I tell everybody, live fearlessly and don't worry about failure. I think when I was younger...
Did you say furiously or fearlessly?
Did I say furiously? Sorry. No.
Live furiously.
Fearlessly.
No, I've got the headphones on, so yeah.
Okay, cut that. Fearlessly.
Okay.
And don't worry about the failure that might come with that. Because when I look back at my younger age, I think I was very motivated to succeed, and I had my goals and my visions. But I didn't do it, I did it conservatively. Like what was right, following the norm, the outward, what everybody else was doing. I was working, one of my first jobs was working down on Wall Street, and I was just following that norm, going on and off, every day. And I can even remember looking back and saying, is this really what I want? Is this really, maybe I should take that job, maybe I should go for that promotion. Oh, but this is secure and it pays for my apartment, and I have my nice little social life in the city now, and this is working for me. And I just say, go for it. And you're going to fail. Yeah. Things are going to happen. I tell all my clients, you can be the highest leader up there. They all have the best failure stories, how they got there. And they continually have failure stories. They learn and grow. And that's what I would say, the younger me, I wish. I was afraid of failure, and I was afraid. I was afraid, plain and simple. Not afraid of everything, but I was afraid of a lot.
I definitely think that will resonate with a lot of women in particular, because I think that women in particular are driven by fear. Our decisions are made based on fear a lot of the time.
And then that leads to self-doubt.
That's right.
And then we create this constant weird thought process in our mind, which is that mindset I talk about. And then we don't empower ourselves to an action. Men will, and Vinnie, you can say if you're like this or not. I would like to hear your opinion.
I would love to know.
All right, here we go. Let's put me on the spot.
Okay,
Go ahead.
I find when I work with male clients, is what I call, they have a really great ego, and they sometimes don't know how to keep it in check, but most of the time they do, and they do it without fear and without failure. They'll accept the consequence of the failure and move on. They believe action changes things, and if they get in that mode of action changes things, they have less complacency in their life. Women will step back and overanalyze it, and we go into what I call analysis paralysis.
Yes.
What if I did this? What if I interviewed differently? What if why are my friends including me in that event that I'm seeing up on Instagram? And we overanalyze, and then we put ourselves, I don't want to fail, and we step back into our comfort zones. Men, I think, will get out of their comfort zones a little bit quicker. Do you agree or disagree?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like, there are differences between men and women, but we're not immune to fear, and we're not immune to,
but will you take
insecurity.
The risk?
I'd like to say yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
I think when it comes to interviewing for a job, a man would look at a job description and say, I hit like 75% of this, I'm going for it.
Oh my gosh, I cannot believe you just said this.
Right? And women will look at it and be like, oh God, I'm only at 75%, I can't possibly
I have a
interview for
story and a statistic for you.
Okay.
Last fall I read this statistic. This will hit right on the difference between a male and a female interviewing. So the statistic said the woman will not interview for the job or go for the promotion unless she feels she's 80 to 90% qualified with the skill set.
Right.
A male will go for the same job 40 to 50% qualified.
No way, 40 to 50%.
So I let that resonate with me. I put it in the back of my book. I write down little jots of things to keep me going. I let it go. I had a client who I coach, and he was looking to hire a new position. Long story short, that we had to coach through all that to get to him to that place. He puts the position out. He goes, okay, I have a very technical aspect to it. Nothing gender specific, so let me just say that. Nothing gender specific at all. And he wanted that technical aspect to be about 50% of the job, and then the leadership and the decision-making, concisiveness to be the other 50, because that's where he was lacking. He calls me 2 weeks later, says, you have 5 minutes? I'm really bewildered. I need help here. Did we do something wrong on the job description? What did we do? So what's going on? He says, I have over 90% of what's applying are men. I'm doing phone interviews, like you said. They are only 30 to 40% qualified for the skill set, the technical aspect, but boy, are they nailing it, why I should hire them and how they're going to add value. I only had 2 women apply for the position. The first woman came in and said, in an email, oh, I'm going to decline on this phone call because I don't think I have that technical aspect you're looking for. The second woman came in, she interviewed, he said she nailed everything. She had the technical, she had the leadership, the decisiveness, everything I was looking for to build efficiency in my organization. I literally hung up the phone, Caryn, gathered everybody who needed a second interview her and said, we're doing this, we're going to lose her. Called her back, and she declined the interview because she felt she didn't have the skill set. So he calls me, what do? I said, okay, one of two things are happening here. She doesn't want the job, and she's just being nice.
Right.
And that's her nice way of doing it. Or two, she is doing, and I gave him the statistic. She's falling under the statistic. So I recoached him on how to formulate his discussion with her. Needless to say, he hired her. She's built efficiencies beyond belief. She put a whole new system in, and he's had 30% reduction of his time now to go out and lead generate, which has built 20% profitability in his business because of hiring her.
Wow.
And if he didn't make that phone call and convince her, because this is what I go down to, she had the confidence in that interview, but she had that self-doubt and that self-love lacked in her.
Yeah.
And he just honed him back. I just gave him a few techniques to bring it back to her and convinced her to come back in for the interviews. And she's kicking butt in that job right now.
That's amazing.
So
It's so inspiring, but it makes me so sad at the same time that we have come so far.
we're getting there. Don't be
but-
sad. We're getting there.
Yeah, we are.
Well, why do you think it is that women don't think that they can grow? Like, because it doesn't, I don't know, maybe because I am a guy and I have that different perspective, but like, I've always kind of known that you don't have to, like, you can kind of, what's the best way to say this? Like, you can grow into something and you
Yeah.
can learn, like, and we're taught that you can grow into things.
Adaptability. Adaptability.
Yeah.
You are
So
taught.
what is it, because like we all sit in the same classrooms and we all listen to the same
Right.
lectures. What is it about women that you're being
don't
told
know.
something different?
I don't know.
And how do we fix that?
Yeah, well, we absolutely need to fix it, and I don't know what it is that women are told differently, but we are.
I go through, and I could speak on it for an hour, which I am this weekend, but I go through 4 trigger points with women. I find that when I look at the self-love and self-confidence and try to combine it, one is keeping the ego in check. And when I say with the ego, we don't super ego ourselves. We don't sell ourselves enough as women. And it definitely comes out in negotiation processes, setting boundaries. We have a really difficult time setting boundaries, saying no to people, because we're people pleasers by nature. We're multitaskers. We're change makers. But are we doing that with depriving ourselves of our own self-worth, our self-love, and taking care of ourselves? And then if you don't nurture yourself and take care of yourself, how are you going to outwardly project that anywhere else? And also, we fear fear, and we like our comfort zones, and that's a big boundary, which happens with men too. I definitely do see it. But I think men are very quicker, like you said, to adapt and get out of it. Like once they switch the mindset, okay, I'm going to do it. Like, and I'm going to be decisive doing it. We tend to dwell on it a little bit more. And it's really having self-affirmations with ourselves. Instead of going into that interview, so I can go on stage before every presentation. I get nervous. Come on, it's just what it is. And I can look at my mirror and myself in the morning and say, gosh, what if I lose my place? What if I forget my point? What if somebody's just looking at me and staring at me in an awkward way and it throws me off? But I go into the mirror and I say, I know this. I'm an expert at this. If I lose my place, I'll make a joke about it because I'm human. And humans make mistakes. And women all the time, we aim towards that perfection.
Yeah, we do.
And it's progression, not perfection.
Right.
Once we get that mindset, it's progression and not perfection, it's going to be okay. It works. It works. But yeah, we have quite a ways, but we've come quite a ways.
We have. We've come a long way.
A long way.